Thank you, Presiding Officer. In the last hour, Jamie Dawson, KC, counsel to the COVID-19 inquiry, has explained that the SNP government were asked to provide all communications related to key decisions made during the pandemic. These included all informal messages, including on WhatsApp. Mr Dawson has said, and I quote, "No messages were provided." Grieving families deserve answers and full transparency from this government. So why has Humza Yousaf not handed over key messages to the inquiry?
First Minister.
Can I say first and foremost that my thoughts continue to remain with all of those families that have been bereaved by COVID and affected by COVID. This government will cooperate fully with both the UK inquiry and the Scottish public inquiry. In terms of what we have released and what we will provide to the inquiry, let me make it clear that any potentially relevant information that we hold, be it in WhatsApp, be it in email, be it in any correspondence, we will hand over, have handed over. And of course, if there are concerns that have been raised by the inquiry, as Douglas Ross has rightly said, have been, then we will fully investigate them. We will, of course, hand over, and we have handed over relevant material. There are some messages that we're going to continue to provide, but they have to go through the appropriate processes. So we will continue to hand over those messages. We'll continue to cooperate fully with the public inquiries, both the UK inquiry and the Scottish inquiry. And for those concerns that have been raised, they will be fully investigated.
Douglas Ross.
I'm not sure what the First Minister is talking about. This is from this morning. Surely he is aware of what is happening. Jamie Dawson says the Scottish Government has provided the inquiry with no WhatsApp or other informal messaging material, either in its own possession or in the possession of the individuals whose individual Rule 9 requests are being handled by the Scottish Government. He also said there is no clear, comprehensive response emerged in the corporate statements from the Scottish Government. But in May this year, asked a direct question by a journalist, Humza Yousaf said if a request for messages, including WhatsApp, was made, the Scottish Government should be absolutely open and transparent. In June, he said in this chamber, and I quote, "WhatsApp messages, emails, Signal messages, Telegram messages, or whatever will absolutely be handed over to the COVID inquiries and handed over to them in full." The inquiry has heard this morning that that has not happened. So where are the messages? Where have they gone? And has the Scottish Government deleted any messages?
First Minister.
The Scottish Government did not make decisions through WhatsApp. That's not what we routinely did. I know that was very different to what was being intimated by the UK Government.
Members, let's hear the First Minister.
Routinely, decisions were not made over WhatsApp. And I have, and I will continue to say to every single government minister, every single government official, that we must comply with the inquiry fully. So if there is relevant information that has been passed on, I note the concerns that were raised this morning. Therefore, I've asked the Solicitor General just this morning to internally investigate whether there, of course, are any other messages that have to be handed over. So messages have been, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's email, whether it's correspondence, all that information has been provided. I myself have provided a statement, of course, to the inquiry as well. But I do note the concerns that have been raised and can give an absolute assurance to the families listening, particularly those families that have been bereaved by COVID, where we hold any relevant information that will be passed on.
Douglas Ross.
But it's not. That's what we are hearing this morning. And it shouldn't take the Solicitor General to get involved. The First Minister must know what is required and must have heard, as I did, what the KC, the Council for the inquiry, has said. And despite, and I'm not going to say deliberately, maybe inadvertently, that the First Minister misled Parliament there, because we know, I think that's okay to say, because we know that SNP government ministers do routinely use WhatsApp to discuss government matters. At the end of last year, it was revealed that 4 SNP ministers were using WhatsApp to conduct government business. Neil Gray, Kevin Stewart, Marie Todd and Humza Yousaf himself. The Council to the COVID inquiry has also revealed today that witness statements, and this is a quote, suggests that informal communication, such as WhatsApp messages, were used by key decision-makers to discuss matters around the progress of the pandemic in Scotland and, this is a quote from the Council, decisions that the Scottish Government might have to take. And crucially, one Scottish Government official has voluntarily handed over WhatsApp messages from the pandemic, proving that they exist, First Minister. So there is no excuse for not releasing them. So why is this information being withheld from grieving families, the inquiry and everyone who deserves answers?
First Minister.
That is a complete mischaracterisation, and of course I did not inadvertently mislead the Chamber. I didn't say that there's never been discussions over WhatsApp. What I said is that we didn't routinely make decisions over WhatsApp, which was very different, of course, to what the UK Government has done.
Let us hear
what I
the
would
First
expect
Minister.
Scottish Government ministers to do, and Scottish Government officials to do, is comply with our mobile messaging apps usage and policy. That policy, I believe, I wrote to every single member of this Chamber, of this Parliament, with. Now, what I'd also expect, of course, every single minister and government official to do is to, of course, comply with the Do Not Destroy notices that were provided by the UK inquiry. Now, there has been concerns that have been raised. Douglas Ross is absolutely right to reiterate those concerns that were raised on behalf of the committee. I can only say to the families listening that we will take on board those concerns. We will internally investigate fully, because my understanding, certainly as I stand here today, is that routine information relevant information, has been passed over. But of course, if there is any concerns raised, they will be fully investigated, and I will ask the Solicitor General to investigate them. And of course, I will update this Parliament on any of those investigations.
Douglas Ross.
The First Minister was speaking about the letter he sent. I've got it here. On the 20th of July, he sent it to all MSPs. He states, "I should reiterate here that the Scottish Government is committed to openness and transparency. We are cooperating fully with both the UK and Scottish inquiries," which is totally the opposite to what we've heard from Jamie Dawson this morning. SNP members are saying no. The counsel to the inquiry has said they have not received what they asked for from the Scottish Government. And the Scottish Government does have record management policies requiring officials to retain records. The SNP business manager, George Adam, told this Parliament in December last year, this is a quote, "All recorded information that is held by ministers or officials that relates to the business of the Scottish Government is subject to freedom of information law, irrespective of its format or the platform on which it is held." The COVID inquiry also has powers to compel evidence. Refusing to hand over this information would not only be an insult to grieving families, it would not only be a shocking display of secrecy, it would potentially break the law. So will the First Minister confirm that he will be transparent and release every bit of information this government holds? And does he accept that if any messages have been deleted, it would be illegal?
First Minister.
It is not this government which has broken the law or will break the law. We will comply with not only the law, we will comply and cooperate fully with both the UK inquiry and also the Scottish public inquiry as well. And so we have passed over what we believe to be relevant information. That being said,
First Minister,
Douglas Ross is shouting
First
nothing.
Minister, if you might just give me a moment. Question has been put to the First Minister. Let's hear the First Minister respond with no other comment. First Minister.
Douglas Ross is saying nothing has been handed over. That is incorrect. My own statement to the COVID inquiry is over 100 pages long. So to suggest that there has not been any information passed over, that is simply incorrect. What we are doing and what we have done is not just complied with our own policy. What I'm seeking assurances on the back of this morning's comments from Council is to make sure that the DNDN notice, Do Not Destroy notice, has been fully complied with, not just by ministers, but by every relevant Scottish Government official. So we take seriously the concerns that have been raised by Council. This Government will undoubtedly fully cooperate with both the UK inquiry and both the Scottish public inquiry too.
Thank you.